as far as Yan goes, he's really interesting to me because what everybody knows about him is like the foot speed and the hand speed and the release time, and what's interesting about him is his work is probably as methodical as anyone that I've ever had. He tries to really break things down into component parts, and he works them like at whatever pace he needs to be able to get to comfort, and then he lets it speed up in the game. He doesn't do anything really and throughout the course of his drill work that's fast. And so when you think about like, I want my guys to train fast so they can move faster, like he's the opposite to that. It's like I want to make sure my body aligns right and everything's organized correctly, and then I'll let things play up in the game. And he's been really good at that. I think, when you think about the throwing package, like obviously the use of arm slots and things like that is pretty unique for him as well. And that's something that he definitely like intentionally trains. He spends a lot of time especially as he gets out towards like 120 feet in his catch play routine, like, changing slots, walking away from me in different directions, whether it's, dropping back like a quarterback or like going laterally. But it forces him to, get himself into some different positions and get his arm into position out of that. And you really see that come into play when he throws at second base. I mean, there'll be throws where his body is, completely square to the right-handed hitter, and he's standing right behind him, and the ball's coming out from a completely different location. So it's really unique in that regard. But I think because he can change his slot so much, it allows him to really speed things up and just kind of put his feet wherever they go, and then just trust his arm to get where it needs to get. So I think for me, that's the most interesting thing about Yan from like a physical perspective, just because that's what you see, that's what you think. Like, everyone has this like perception that he's like trying to be so quick, and he doesn't really talk about that at all. And that's, it's an interesting really watching him do his stuff and work, because it's just totally, it's not intuitive based on what you'd think, because of how you see it in the game. And this is the case for a lot of veteran catchers. Like what makes him really special is like what he does in game, how he works with our pitchers. He spends more time talking to our pitchers than any catcher that we've had in Chicago in game that I've seen. And a lot of times it's just like, he spends a lot of time like listening to the pitching coach talk to the pitchers and then jumping in when he needs to. There isn't like a real necessity to say, I'm Yan Gomes, I'm the catcher, listen to me. And not that anyone else that I've had is like that, but like he's really good at like, let me absorb what these guys are telling this guy to do, and then let me figure out how I can help him through that process. That's what I've been like really impressed with him, is just like the way that he gets involved in that pitcher catcher relationship. I think that's really special. And, I think that's part of the reason that, we're where we're at with our catchers is